Hi, I'm Quinta Brunson, and I feel optimistic about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
That's nice. Well, you should feel optimistic because...
Is that a threat? Why'd you say it like that?
You listen to me, Quinta. You listen to me.
I said I feel optimistic.
Suddenly security comes rushing in and beats the shit out of me. It was just the tone of my voice.
You could, yeah.
Delighted to have you on the podcast. I'm just all tingly because I am. Well, some of that's a stroke.
Yeah.
Which happens at my age.
What is your age?
What is? Yeah. What is my age? That is such a rude question. It's 61. I'm 61 years old.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
You didn't think
still walking?
That's why I don't like to do podcasts. I'm just saying.
No, that's so great.
Yeah,
I love that. That's amazing that someone can live that long.
Yeah. He's mostly animatronic at this point. So.
You didn't see me. They carried me in and put me in the chair before you walked in.
Anyway, sorry.
But it's funny because you're super young. I remembered being your age, and if I met someone who was 60 or 61, I thought, oh my God, I can't believe they just stood up from a sitting position.
That's not what she meant.
That's not what
she meant. You look
First
good
of all, I'm
for your
not
age.
super young. It's relative compared to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but compared to people who are 20, I'm not super young. But I used to watch your show with my sister, and I was very, very young. That's when I was like allowed to come sleep on her floor.
Just like the old late night show.
The old late night show.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal for me, and it was very formative for me. And so I don't know, when you said 61, I was like thinking about my own age and just watching your show when I was younger. I think it's super tight that you're 61, not like
That's cool.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
Guys.
No.
Podcast.
Well,
okay.
We were talking about it today. Your show premiered today.
Today is the day that is the anniversary of my late night show starting, which is when things really kicked into high gear for me, obviously.
That's wild.
And that was 1993. So
31 years ago.
31 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
what the fuck? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I probably was about 10 when I was allowed to sleep up there. It was a big deal to go. My sisters are much older than me, so it was like the biggest deal that could ever happen to me to go be able to sleep upstairs with them. And yeah, I was watching your show and I was like, oh,
you know,
like this guy.
Oh, that's nice.
One day I want to hang out with him, but not till he's much older.
Well, you know what's interesting? Let me finish my thought, which is you put the comedy first, which is so important, and then put it in allegiance to a cause that was very important to you. Sometimes people confuse the order and they say, I'm going to do this important comedy that shines a light on this thing, and they forget to put comedy first.
You get it.
The writing is so good, the performing is so good, your cast is amazing, but I also love that we have a culture that's obsessed with wealth, and so many shows are about wealth. Watching your show was so beautifully refreshing to me because so few people, and it's almost like there's a mandate out there. A show has to be about super wealthy people. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I think that part of the reason why I was longing to see something like my show, and thank you for all your kind words, that means the world, was because like wish fulfillment became the biggest thing, the biggest buy. It was the biggest sell. And that goes from shows about wealthy people to shows about people who are like super stylish, people being sold what they are not in order to keep them in a cycle of I'm not good enough. And I really think it's the same thing as when you see an ad for sunglasses that like you can't afford, but that ad is secretly telling you if you don't have these sunglasses, you're not good enough. So you need to get them. And I felt like all the shows were starting to feel that way. And with Abbott, just going to a point about what you said, I didn't really think about the good cause when I was making it. There was no part of me, in spite of how many people say it, that was like, I want to make a show that shines a light on teachers. I really did not give a fuck. It wasn't until the night that it premiered, and we premiered it in front of a group of teachers on the Walt Disney line. I was like, holy shit, this is about teachers. What if these teachers don't? I didn't even think about that to me, it was just a ripe environment for a television show.
Yes.
For a workplace comedy.
Well, your mom,
yes,
teacher for many years.
Yep.
And you had the experience. I've read in interviews, we said you went there and you're visiting your mom at her elementary school, and you looked around and you said, oh, this is a show. Now, what I love is, as I said before, there are people that think they're being altruistic. Like, I need to do a show that's about this important cause that we all need to think about. And think, well, no, good art comes from the inspiration first.
Yep.
And you had the inspiration out of, you love comedy, you wanted to make a show, you saw this place that would make a great show.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't work if you had gone at it the other way.
I don't think so either. And I think it's the same side of the coin of like the people who made Succession. Someone looked at that world and saw a show and they made a great show. And it was the same approach to Abbott. Now, that show wasn't like altruistic in nature or like shining a light on anything, but I still think most artists and television writers should do exactly what you said. Like, you see a good world, make a good show. If whatever happens after that, and you can't really control that part of it. I would have never expected all that came from everything that teachers gain from it. I just did not. A beautiful blessing on the side of just showcasing a world. Because the other thing is, to me, that world doesn't look bad. That's the world that I'm from. It's so it was so funny when the show came out and they're like, these underrepresented, these poor children are finally. I was like, they're just regular ass kids, y'all. They're not that poor. They're the regular amount of American poor. It was like, my God, these people are so decrepit and it's beautiful. They have the spotlight. I was like,
You're talking about my mom, and you.
And me.
Yeah. Oh my God, that you would shine a light on this horrible world.
These people, they're so sad.
It's not The Walking Dead.
No, literally. It's funny.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff you can't do anything about. Some people will interpret the art that way, and you just kind of live with it, I guess.
You know what's fun, too, is there's so much great comedy moments that come out of, we don't have enough scissors. We need to figure out a way to get scissors. And it's not coming from a place of teaching a lesson. It's coming from, this is great. This is a good comedic moment.
Yeah.
And then you can feel whatever you're going to feel after that, which is, there is something deeply screwed up about the priorities in our country. These are our schools. And so something is tragically fucked up, but it's coming on the heels of finding all of this beautiful human comedy, character comedy.
Totally.
You know, not sitcom jokes, but character comedy.
Have you ever watched King of Queens?
Yeah.
So there's an episode of that show where they're on strike from IPS where they work, which is UPS, the main character, Doug, and his friends. And ultimately, I imagine when they went in the room, they were just like, what's Doug going to do without work in Arthur's home, his father-in-law? Like, how is Arthur going to get on Doug's nerves in this way? And I'm sure that's like what was in the room and on the board. But when I watched it as a young girl, it's how I learned about like strikes and the effectiveness of strikes. And I just know they weren't in that room like, let's teach America a lesson. The man to do it is Kevin James. It was just, but I wound up like, it was my first experience watching something about the need for a strike every now and then.
Yeah.
And so I like to approach comedy in that way of just the most basic comedic situation, the most basic sitcom, 1, 2, 3. And then because of our world, though, because of being in a public school, we're not afraid to go to those places where you might learn a lesson. And it honestly just comes out organically because we have really strong characters. And when you have characters that are strong with real opinions and real thoughts and backgrounds, you like naturally get to this place of, oh shit, we'll write ourselves into a lesson. Like, oh fuck, damn, okay. Yeah. Barbara just dropped some knowledge that we didn't plan on her dropping, but yeah, whatever. Ananyway, I really hate this. Is
no. What do you hate? What do you hate?
Just like talking.
Is it him? Do we need to get rid of him?
No,
Am I the problem?
part. No, I'm gonna be
He's
quiet.
so old.
and
We
just,
should get rid of him.
Let's us kids hang out.
Phase me out now.
I'm only 51.
51?
Oh, God.
What's it like?
You're 51.
Thank you.
You look great.
Hey.
You all look
Hey,
great.
hey. You did not say that to me.
I did say that.
No, you
No,
didn't.
that's where she was headed. That's
I was
why
headed
You
there.
were headed that
I was
way.
headed
You cut
there.
her
This is
off.
bullshit. You went right to you look great. You were doing a lot of how long has he got? I could see it in your eyes.